Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Seams. I'm your host, Michelle Washington. Today I have two fantastic guests, Melissa Pierce and Casey Martin. Together, they are putting Central Texas Fashion Coalition on the fashion map. So, do not adjust your screens because the fashion revolution is being televised. My name is Michelle Washington, TV style expert and fashion stylist. I've worked with countless brands and seen the ins and outs of the fashion industry. Now, I want to bring their stories to you. Join me as we take a deeper look at the journeys of Texas fashion designers and apparel industry professionals and learn just what it takes to make it as a brand. I am so happy to finally have you here today. You were both so busy.
So true.
That's why we get along so well.
Right.
We're constant overbookers.
Yes.
But you do it so well and you do it with style, okay? So where are you both from?
I'm from Austin, and I'm also a fifth-generation Texan, so very proud of my roots. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I can't brag about that. I've been here almost a decade, though, but I'm by way of Florida, and so I kind of did the traditional fashion thing where I was like, I'm going to move to New York City for a brief stint, came back to Florida, and then to Austin.
By way of Florida, so how did you, is it Floridian? Is that what we say?
Yes, we're a Floridian.
Okay. As a Floridian, how did you accept this Texas weather?
Well, I mean, I feel like you're sort of baked in the heat in Florida too, but it's a sweatier heat. You're just wet all the time. But both of the climates, you sort of have to adapt the fashion, right? Oh. And so I've never really been somewhere that's completely northeast where you have all of the seasons. And so I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit of like, what is it like to dress as a Texan? What is it like to dress as a Floridian? Because they both have very interesting stereotypes around them. And I have been in those situations where I have to defy that. I have to be like, but I'm not going to dress like that. I'm not going to succumb to these rules.
All right, you've already taken us there. So since you already landed on style, what are 3 words you would use to describe your style?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I actually work as a wardrobe stylist in addition to doing the CTFC, and I do vision sessions for clients. And so I've did a vision session for myself. So instead of 3 words, I like to do style personas. So one of mine I call the artful visionary. And that's a little bit more like minimalistic, but mixed with a little bit of avant-garde. So you could kind of think like your Tilda Swintons would fall into that category, right? And then my other one is the playful intellectual. So that's a little more whimsical. That's where I bring in some vintage. That's where I bring in some modernity and playfulness, but also with a touch of feminine energy. And so those brands are more like the Stodds and like the Age, like those types of brands. So not necessarily 3 words, but more like visions and personas for me.
I love it. Those are my 3 words.
There you go.
I love
I'll help
it.
you. I'll do a vision session for you.
Ooh. What was that? The artistic one, say that again.
The artful visionary.
Artful visionary.
Yeah, I can see that for you too. Yeah,
I'm learning some things from you.
And there you go.
Okay. All right, Melissa.
So I definitely feel like the artful visionary could, be applied to my style as well. I love to dress super fun and colorful. I would say if I had to just wrap it up into 3 words, I would say chic, because it's timeless. Edgy, just to bring a little bit of something different into every outfit. And then I love effortless, because I think it's Austin and we should all just feel very comfortable in who we are. So
both of you, you really got it down.
We do. We have to have style formulas,
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Well, with all of this style flowing around this room, you have to tell me more about the Central Texas Fashion Coalition. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We like to say CTFC as well, just to shorten that, like Austin ATX. So we're always saying CTFC to get people to kind of get used to that as well, since it is a mouthful. So we are a membership-based organization, and we service the Central Texas area, mainly Austin, but we have members from all over. And we basically support and build community for sustainable fashion professionals, advocates, and just anyone who is even just interested in fashion. And Casey can probably build on that a little bit more too.
Yeah, I would say like our overall mission vision is really to create a thriving hub in Austin for sustainable fashion. And so I think Melissa and I got like frustrated seeing all these small independent designers that not only we like to shop from, some of our friends like to shop from, and we believe in like independent commerce. So we wanted to create this infrastructure to keep those designers, keep those brands, professionals, and creatives in Austin to help them be able to make it outside of larger anchor cities like New York and LA, right? Because like, how many people are going to keep going there? You know, it's very frustrating. So that was our overall vision, and then I think that's kind of manifested by way of we do quarterly meetups. So that's the main like point of networking for people. And then we have all these online resources that we've kind of built from the ground up ourselves and just our years and experience in Austin. And then we've recently launched initiatives. So an initiative, for example, is our content scholarship. So we give away thousands of dollars worth of studio time, match people with photographers, and they basically apply. It's an award system, and we choose it along with our board of directors.
Wow.
So that's something we're really proud to offer. And when we built the CTFC, we're like, we want to bring tangible things to these designers. We don't want it to just be a place of networking. While we feel that's important, you know, we want the professional services as well. So we have the initiatives, and we've recently launched consulting. So you can hire Melissa and I if you're a member at a discounted rate, or even not. As a member, you can hire us to do professional consulting for your fashion brand.
I love all of this. So here we are, Central Texas, and it's hard to find like-minded people to come together, discuss our business, and help each other thrive. And that's what CTFC is. Well, I'm over here like doing a summary.
Yeah. You get it. No, you get it.
You did a great job with the summary.
Thank you. It's really a challenge to have or even develop a fashion ecosystem in Texas, period. What kind of challenges have you found?
I would say, you know, just even based on what, kind of rebuttaling on what you said just now, the infrastructure is not really here. So we do have some fabric stores, we do have, you know, lots and lots of designers, we have some producers, lots of activists in the slow fashion realm, but everyone kind of feels so dispersed out and doing their own thing. And so, yeah, I think infrastructure, people kind of trying things, hobbying, being like a hobbyist, but also trying to get, you know, professionalize what they're doing. So yeah, it's really all over the place and just really needs that foundation built for it.
I totally agree. And I think another thing we've found is like in a smaller town, you're not only building that infrastructure, but you're doing like the PR for the fashion industry in general, because not everyone gets it. They're like, oh, fashion in Austin. And so you also have to be like promoting the heck out of everything you're doing, getting people to understand the value of fashion, where you know this, between like art and commerce, right? And so we see that not only when we try to like launch events or collaborate in the space, but we see it when we go after grants, for instance. We would really love to get a grant to fund our work because we do so much giving back to small businesses in the community. But it's hard to get an art grant, for instance, to understand the value of fashion. But really it's so powerful because it is art and it's sellable. So you're not only supporting artists, you're supporting small businesses as well.
See, I like the way you put that, that fashion is commerce. And really that's the platform for us overall, is that fashion is a business. You said, and this is really an overarching challenge to everything, I guess, in no matter whose industry, but to be relevant to ours. How hard is it to get people to understand that not only is fashion art, but it is also commerce? And then you're bumping heads trying to get grant givers to understand that. Where is that happening?
Exactly. I mean, where it's happening for us, I think, is even just in the grant writing process. And Melissa has been so deep in the weeds of that, of like figuring out what language to use, figuring out what these grant, you know, reviewers want exactly. And I think another huge thing is like getting them to understand the value of not only is it fashion, but it's ethically produced fashion for the most part, and that makes it doubly hard, right? And so they're supporting businesses where it's produced correctly. There's so much fashion that's just commercial, mass market, fast fashion. And we're kind of the antithesis of that too. So I think that's another big pillar when we go after grants that we probably need to push a little bit harder on.
Well, both of you are both entrepreneurs yourselves.
Yes,
Okay. So, Melissa, Casey, who wants to go first? Tell me.
Take it away.
Okay, I can take it away. So I have a brand that I built almost a decade ago. It'll be a decade in 2026 called Soul Studio. And Soul Studio is a natural dye house. And so we dye all of our fabrics using plant-based dyes, bugs, roots, just anything you can extract from nature to get color. And we create some really beautiful artisan prints with a technique that we use called eco-printing, which is our signature technique. We do a couple of other natural dye techniques as well. And we have a women's wear line, and we do workshops, custom stuff. Been doing that for a really long time.
So I think my journey in entrepreneurship has really kind of fused into call myself part journalist, part wardrobe stylist. But I actually got my start up more on the writing front. So when I moved to New York, I was going to be in luxury PR. And I think in college I was studying like sustainability on one hand, wanted to work in media or journalism in some way. So either go the sustainability route or either go the fashion route. And at the time, this is 10 plus years ago, I couldn't see an intersection between them. But when I had this experience in New York and we were like sending samples of clothing and I'm like, what is this outfit made of? And like, why are we sending so much junk out? And it was all plastic, and so that was my first aha moment of like, oh, our clothes are made from petroleum. And so I kind of resolved to work in fashion, but on my own terms, and I wanted to be like a truth teller in the industry. And so I started this site about a decade ago now. It was called the Peahen at the time. And it was consumer guides, fact checks on brands, and just like a whole place where you could discover the world of ethical and sustainable fashion. And I think at the time, like, sustainable fashion was a little bit crunchy, right? It was hard to find brands like Melissa's that are like higher end or just like really well done and prioritizing design. And so I was like, let me hunt those out and let me find those brands. And so kind of during the pandemic, when everyone was having that, what do I do with my life and how do I change and adapt to my business? I was like, I've been writing for a really long time. How do I level this up? And that's when I launched a styling studio. And so to my knowledge, I think it is the only site where you can kind of find these consumer guys. So I like to tell people you can either do it yourself, because I want to empower you to like find all the knowledge you can about sustainable fashion. But then also if you want to hire me, I can do it for you. So I can either help you source secondhand, which is a great way to lower your impact. Beautiful vintage. I take people on style tours of the small businesses around Austin. And so it's just, I have a whole suite of wardrobe styling services. I mostly work with women. I've recently kind of started dabbling in helping menswear, but my expertise is obviously in women's wear. And then I think to broaden my writing, I've started doing some freelance journalism, and I'm really interested in the intersections of agriculture and fashion. And so like so many people just forget, like, this started on a cotton field, I mean, aside from the things that are made from synthetics, most of our clothes start at the farm level. And so I've written some pieces for Texas Monthly on like the intersections of hemp and apparel, in different, trade publications and things like that.
Well, it's interesting when you said that you will take people on style tours.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a style tour kind of winds up as a tour of Austin, because people just don't know about nice little nooks and crannies.
Exactly. And I do it right around here, like off 11th. There's so many great boutiques. There's vintage stores and there's like Lovecraft there. So it's just, there's so many hidden gems in the city. But we do sometimes have to drive around. There's not like, I'm not taking them to the Domain, like we're going to the independent stores.
The all-in-one, and here's the Domain, bye.
Yeah, see, I'll just drop you off.
Do it yourself, Sarah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way that you enrich a city, is to take them around to the gems.
Yes.
Right, the local businesses.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's how we build our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how we build our fashion businesses and help them thrive.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful that you're circling back and saying you could go here, but you would miss all the richness
Exactly.
of this local store.
And it's a really great like entry point for someone who like, oh, I just want to understand the Austin fashion scene, but then I can give them little tidbits to help them be more sustainable, to support local brands. And so what I find is like it's a beautiful gateway into the world of sustainable fashion. And sometimes people book it through Airbnb experiences, and sometimes people book it through me. So I put it on there to kind of self-market itself, but then you can book it through my website. And so I've had people from out of town just book it, like, I want to get to know the fashion scene. And then I've had people in town that are like, this is, a little bit less expensive than booking your traditional services. So it's like I get a stylist and I get to go around to the stores. So it's a gateway.
Well, both of you, I've heard you both mention Austin's fashion scene.
Yes.
It's a hard question to ask. Do you feel Austin has a fashion scene?
I would definitely say in the past 5 years, I think we do. I would say 10 years ago, I would have felt a little more iffy on that question, just from the experiences that I had and all of that. But I would say that now we definitely have a booming slow fashion industry and dozens of designers, boutiques. It's really incredible what has built up over the past few years. Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think we see that with people coming out into the community. My pain point is like, where are the people wearing these things though? Because it's like, it's so hot, and so I'll go into like beautiful stores like Moss and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all this like couture here, but I don't see people necessarily wearing it. And I think that's just indicative of the culture that we're in, right? It's like, we're in pajamas or we're in athleisure, and then we only dress up for events. And so I would personally love to see, and I think the tides will start to change. And I don't think that's just an Austin problem. I think it's like an everywhere kind of problem. So I think there's for sure a scene, and I think there's like a distinctive look here too. Like I remember when I moved to Austin being like, oh, I can't wear my Florida clothes here. Like that's just not, it's a lot of denim, it's a lot of cotton and linen, it's a lot of like breezy, open, flowy garments.
Yeah.
So both of you didn't just trip into fashion. This had to be, and as cliche as it sounds, your passion for fashion had to come from somewhere. So was it, I know for me it was a Barbie doll. And Barbie is all the rage, but maybe it was a Barbie doll for you as well. I don't know. Tell me, what was younger you's first blush and say, this is my life?
So that's a good question. I would say, like in my generation, Bratz dolls were like the doll, which are just so funny thinking back on because like their feet come off and they're just ridiculous with the giant heads and everything. But I will say I've always just loved, like I would always try on my mom and dad's clothes and walk around and play dress up all the time. So I think I've always had a passion for it. I've always been an artist. I went to college for graphic design. And then I got into silversmithing from there. So I worked at a jewelry school, had my own jewelry line, and I think I just kind of fell in love with the natural dyeing when I saw it and decided this needs to be like on a body, like worn more. So I think just subconsciously always obsessed with putting fun things on and just self-expression and all of that.
You had me at the dolls.
The Bratz.
Yes.
They're so fun.
I forgot about those.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, it's not just like a specific moment. It was a little bit more of an evolution. But when I was a little kid, I was shy, which is, I think, hard for some people to believe now. But I was also very studious and like I wanted to get straight A's at everything. But what that kind of turned into was like, I don't have anything to look forward to. And then I realized like, I really look forward to like planning my outfits out for school and like always having something interesting to wear. And I would get lost when I had free time in magazines and just like makeup and like doing fun colors and expressing myself in like an artistic way that way. So I think it just came from like growing up in the burbs and there weren't a lot of people like doing what I was doing. And so I would try to go to Target and like source the cool thing, like the cool collaborations that they did there. And I remember I loved Lizzie McGuire, like how crazy she would dress on the Disney Channel and like wild and out there. And so I just always wanted to use clothes as a way to like maybe show people who I was if I couldn't say it myself.
I love how you put that.
Yeah.
It is an expression.
Yeah.
Your organization, and I'm not going to say it the mouthful way, CTFC.
Yes.
It's a safe space for fashion professionals.
Definitely, yeah.
And I love that, because if they are shy, if they're not about PR and really getting out there, it's a place where they can collaborate. They can discuss trial and error, because we know it is not easy to have a fashion business in Central Texas. So what are the challenges that you've experienced trying to form your organization?
It's a good question. It's
Yeah.
a big question.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of like hit on it a little bit of just like building that infrastructure from the ground up. You know, it didn't exist at all. There was one organization, it's called the Austin Fashion Initiative, and we used to go to their events. Jennifer Millspaw ran it. I'm not sure if you've come across her, but she was wonderful. And then all of a sudden there was this void. And we're like, man, we need to build this again ourselves. So I really do think it's just kind of hitting on that, building everything, building the resources, building the infrastructure, finding the event spaces, finding collaborators, right? Finding grants, like all of it. It's just everything.
Yeah, it really is everything. There's just, because of the lack of infrastructure, people get burnt out as well, because they're trying to do everything themselves. And we'll see people that are very successful, sometimes they'll, you know, be doing great things, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And then we find out they did move to New York or LA. And we're like, no, because you were doing it here.
Yeah.
And so lately we have been seeing people thriving more here, like I said, in the past 5 years, because it is building and it is growing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think a big thing that we encounter is just like production and sourcing here. So like it's hard to source textiles. It's hard to find things. Like I have some friends who have brands where they've set up really amazing networks in other countries, right? So they're bringing in goods from Guatemala or Mexico or whatever. But unless you have people and boots on the ground and you've developed, you know, infrastructure where you can communicate with artisans there, it makes it really hard to even just find textiles here or to find a sewist, you know? So that's why we're trying to build and grow the network. So it's like, boom, we can shoulder tap this person for you.
I've noticed that there's serious momentum building with your organization, though. You started at one point, but you started gaining more legs and more and more. People are finding you, especially you. It is irresistible, you know. CTFC, Central Texas Fashion Coalition. You feel like you're like, ooh, coalition.
Yeah, it's official.
I'm going to get the help I need among the people who know about my industry. I'm not alone anymore.
Yep.
And that's what I love about it. Is that people don't have to feel alone, or that they're drowning trying to establish a business.
Yep.
Because you can drown. But I also love how you said that people's businesses are thriving. They're not just picking up and leaving and going to another state. That has been sort of the pattern, but we are maintaining. We are maintaining.
we are.
And we are seeing couture built here,
Yes.
the slow fashion built here. I think a lot of people, break it down for those who may not really know slow fashion.
I would say slow fashion is first and foremost ethical. So we care about who produces the clothes and the conditions, and that they're paid fairly. And then also the materials that we use are better for the environment, small batch production, so we don't have all of this waste floating around. And then also just the idea of personal style, so that we aren't falling victim to these trends in the first place. And, you know, I could go really, really deep, but do you have anything to add to that?
I think so, yeah. I think you have to look at it from the production and the consumption cycle, and then both sides have to be doing their part. So I think production side, it's like fashion used to be done in four seasons, right? And now it's like designers, and I'm talking runway level, but this trickles down through the whole industry and it becomes toxic, right?
Wow.
Season after season after season, and they're putting out designs, and that's when you see the evolution of fast fashion, where every 2 weeks they're dropping new styles. And now you have ultra fast fashion, right? With like Shein and all of these, like Alibaba. Every day they're churning out styles, you know, and it's just not sustainable. And so I think on the production side, it's about When we say slow fashion, it literally means slowing how much you're producing down, putting less on the market, maybe even doing something on demand. So like pre-testing a style, selling it that way, and then not even producing it until someone has purchased it. So there's so many ways, like theoretically, that you can approach slow fashion, and there's not like a one size fits all. Like Melissa said, you can hit on the ethics side of it, you can hit on the sustainability side of it, and ideally it just means like it's all circular. So it either goes back into nature as a nutrient, so that would be like a biodegradable material, or it can be recycled in perpetuity. And I think what happens in the production cycle with recycled fashion is there's so much greenwashing in that, because we say, oh, it's going to be recycled, but actually it's getting downcycled. And so your polyester loses quality year after year. And so sure, it can be downcycled, but traditionally that's going into like insulation for a home, and it can only be reused once, right? It's getting chopped up. It's actually not of the same grade or quality that can be used in garments again. And so like recycled bottles, for instance, are an example of that. I'm probably getting too in the weeds. So that's kind of like the production side of it. And then I think on the consumption side, it's literally just getting out of this marketing mindset that you need more and more and more. And so it's just that traditional advice of fewer, better things. So like in the 50s, we spent 10 to 12% of our income, our gross income, on clothing. It's 2% today.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
2%. And I'm not saying, like, I know that, you know, some people are lower income or their incomes vary, right? And so I think that you can look at that in all different ways. And I'm not saying we need to spend a bigger portion of our income on clothing, because some people might not be able to do that. I'm just saying that we need to think about buying clothes that last and changing the culture that's surrounding clothes that says, I'm a woman and I need a new garment for every single event I go to, because we don't. And so I think like we try to not, like, I love to personally like talk my girlfriends up and be like, rewear that dress you wore the other time. You do not need to buy a new dress. Like this one's beautiful and it works and you look great in it. And so removing the shame that I think so many people feel around like rewearing garments.
I have to say that with all of the talk around slow fashion, I have noticed the designers, even within your organization, that are taking a tailoring spin, bespoke, doing a lot of building into a garment. I had to think about it, because I was like, wow, it is a lot. They're building the quality. It's like they're building a house. So it's not just, I'm just running some fabric through a machine, selling it, boom, boom. They're placing linings. They're placing collar stays. They're doing all the things to make sure that their design lasts. But at the same time, we know that this is taxing on their budget. Therefore, they must put the budget top of the list, I'd say. You know, where it's like, well, where are we going to pass along the cost, especially with tariffs, and we end up passing that quality cost over to the customers. Now, all that to say, our business is hard. Sometimes we lose people along the way because it is hard to build quality garments and stay in business. Has there been a time, and I can raise my hand for this as well, that you have just felt like giving the fashion industry up?
I would say like way too many times. Like, way too many times. I hate to say that, but I do feel like fashion is notoriously a difficult industry. But I think anytime, like, I built my business when I was so young, so I had a lot more energy to fight through and be like, yes, let's keep going. And I also had a great team, so that's really important. That helped a lot. But I definitely had some times, like a trade show I went to where I was in an incubator program, and they told me that I should print like 1,000 catalogs and bring 1,000 of this, that marketing. And I spent so much money on all of these, you know, printed materials and everything. And it was a great trade show. It was very successful. But then at the end, I had so much stuff. It was like a couple $1,000s wasted. And I remember just feeling like so defeated because of losing that money and realizing like, oh, I could have, you know, had a great ROI on this. But you have to like really not kick yourself. Every industry's hard. And I think fashion, if you didn't go to school and you're just learning, it's entrepreneurship and fashion. So it's kind of like 2 in 1, not only being a designer, but also understanding how to run the business. So
yeah.
A lot of times, that was kind of just one example, but
no, that was a good example.
It still hurts to this day. So really, I would say like people definitely need to slow down and educate themselves on every step of the way. That way they aren't making those costly mistakes.
I don't know that I've like felt like that recently, but I will say I for sure wanted to give up the luxury industry as soon as I got into it, about that experience I told you about. So when I moved to New York and I worked at this PR firm, we represented a luxury brand called Christopher Kane. And at the time, they were doing these like jelly dresses. So the same ones that I mentioned to you, they were made of petroleum because they're all plastic, but they were like gooey on the inside and you could touch them and they had like this cool filling. Anyways, I digress.
So 90s.
Yes, but the dresses were, $50,000, $60,000, and someone at the firm, I was just interning, but she, I guess, was like supposed to send it somewhere, but it or she was receiving it and it burst in the mail. But she was so scared of the exec at this firm that she hid it under her desk. And anyways, the firm was open office, right? And we never got to see the person that was in charge really very much. He would just kind of come in and go out. One day he just came in booming, screaming, cussing her out in French, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so Devil Wears Prada. Like, this is actually happening in front of me. She got fired immediately. She's in tears, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to work in a place where the culture says I need to hide my mistakes because I'm so scared of the person that I work with that I can't just tell him. First of all, it wasn't even her mistake. It burst in the mail, and then she got fired instantly because of it. And I was like, this is not and maybe that was just that firm, right? But like, you hear stories like that in fashion all the time. Then I understood like what the entry-level salaries were and the fact that like everyone was sort of riding their parents' coattails in the industry. They were either like trust fund babies or whatever. And I'm like, the way that this industry treats people that work in it is so unfair. And then couple that with all of the sustainability transgressions, because the luxury brands were doing it at that time and they're doing it today still. They're not as sustainable as they say they are, right? So I think that was my big thing. But then I think like in this industry, I've been in sustainable fashion encouraged by how much community there is, how much inclusiveness there is, how much like mutual support. But the part that makes me like get burnt out is like it's very hard to make a living in sustainable fashion. It's just like, I've had my blog for 10 years and candidly only in the past 2 has it started making me like a little bit of money. So you're sort of working and working and working, because if you're doing something in a way of like, well, I don't want to be an influencer, I don't want to, say I'm wearing this and I'll click to buy it or whatever because you're driving overconsumption, it's just hard to monetize that way of working.
I'm still stuck on someone getting cursed out in French.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know what that sounds like, but as soon as I hear angry, ooh la la, whatever, it's on.
It was in my dreams for like 2 years. I was like, I never want that to happen.
I think I would have started taking off my earrings, rolling up my sleeves.
Yep.
Before.
I was hiding under the desk.
Man, that, like you said, that is so Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm never working here.
I was about, I would lead into the next question of saying, what would you tell your younger self? But it sounds like y'all have already decided.
We've been talking, yeah.
Yeah.
What your younger self should know.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
if maybe you should have something extra to tell your younger selves.
Oh my gosh.
Go for it.
Don't put up with that.
Right.
Absolutely, even in French.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Someone give me the language. Just run.
I think it's time to move on to the fire round. Okay, y'all, are y'all ready? Because once I start, you gotta hit it fast.
First thing on your mind.
The first thing on your mind.
Okay.
And you can jump in and save one or the other.
Okay.
All right, here it goes. If Texas fashion were a person, what would it be wearing right now?
I would just say like some natural fibers. Like, it's not a specific style, but it's like we're all sweaty and we're just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. Like, we were talking about how, it's finally crispy today. But no, it was still 90 in the sun. Mm-hmm. Like, just natural.
But honestly, cowboy boots, because they
Yeah.
look cute with everything. So you
Yeah.
can dress them Western or you can dress them a little more modern. So
Yeah.
Heels, boots, or sneakers, what's your go-to power shoe?
mules.
Mine's an orthopedic
Mules.
shoe right now.
I have to write that in.
Only
Dr.
because
Scholl's
I
insert.
have an ankle injury, so I've been wearing these like roll shoes because they take the pressure off, and I'm like figuring out ways to make them stylish. Like, can I put a cool sock with this? Like,
Okay, if you could swap closets with anyone in the world for one day, who would it be?
okay, I think I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but I think it's Grace Genham. But anyway, she's an online influencer. She's 59 years old, and she's such a baddie. Like, you remember when you would read Cosmo or you read Glamour, and it was like, this page is dedicated to what you wear in your 20s. This page is what you wear in your 30s, 40s, whatever. Every decade goes on. She doesn't care at all about that. Like, she wears, I'm like, I would wear head to toe what she's wearing right now. And she's just like chic and hip and wears like athleisure mixed with couture. Like, she's so cool. Check her out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's spelled like Grece.
All right, I'm feeling that. All right, anyone in the world for one day.
I have two. I have Iris Apfel is the most iconic fashion person of all time, I would say. She
Okay.
just wears
Yeah.
whatever she wants. She passed away recently. That was so sad. And then my modern would be Aurora James. She's the founder of the Brother Fellies
Oh.
and the 15% Pledge. You may know her.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with her. I just love her style and the confidence that she brings with all of it. So
Okay, so what's fueling your Fashion Week survival kit? What's fueling it? Coffee, champagne, or chaos? Chaos.
Lots of caffeine. Unfortunately, I love caffeine. So coffee and matcha just all day, and then puppy cuddles afterwards.
Puppy
just
cuddles,
to-
yeah. I feel like Melissa and I, we've bonded through chaos, so I would go with chaos, followed by champagne after.
Okay.
To celebrate.
Yeah.
To celebrate.
Okay.
Like maybe after this.
You had coffee on yours, you had champagne, and both you had chaos.
Yeah. Just bond through chaos.
All of the things, yeah.
Okay, y'all. Look, this has been wonderful and a lot of fun. Okay, we got to dance and everything.
I love it.
If you have any words of advice for our viewers, go ahead and break that fourth wall.
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say if you are a fashion creative professional, don't create in a vacuum. And I think like community is everything if you're building a brand. So yeah, just like we said, don't be isolated.
And to add on to that, definitely don't be afraid to like experiment if you're building a brand. But once you are confident in what you've put together and you know that it's it, invest heavily in things that really build a strong foundation for your brand or your organization or whatever you're doing. And those investments are really, really important because those long-term gains are so much more important than the short-term sales and that, chasing all of that. So yeah, build.
I love it and love it twice. And viewers, when you are making your journey to the top of that mountain, just remember it was worth every stitch. A smile is always in style. Keep it fashionable.